Good morning, Team Alabama. We are going to continue reading in the Hunger Games. Please join me in reading on page 152. 152. The ground slopes down. I don't particularly like this. Valleys make me feel trapped. I want to be high, like in the hills around District 12, where I can see my enemies approaching, but I have no choice but to keep going. Funny though, I don't feel too bad. The days of gorging myself have paid off. I've got staying power, even though I'm short on sleep. Being in the woods is rejuvenating. I'm glad for the solitude, even though it's an illusion, because I'm probably on screen right now, not consistently, but off and on. There are so many deaths to show the first day that a tribute trekking through the woods isn't much to look at, but they'll show me enough to let people know that I'm alive, uninjured, and on the move. One of the heaviest days of betting is the opening, when the initial casualties come in, but that can't compare to what happens as the field shrinks to a handful of players. It's late afternoon when I begin to hear the cannons. Each shot represents a dead tribute. The fighting must have finally stopped at the cornucopia. They never collect the bloodbath bodies until the killers have dispersed. On the opening day, they don't even fire the cannons until the initial fighting's over because it's too hard to keep track of the fatalities. I allow myself to pause, panting, as I count the shots. 1, 2, 3, and on until they reach 11. 11 dead in all, 13 left to play. My fingernails scrape at the dried blood. The boy from District 9 coughed into my face. He's gone, certainly. I wonder about PETA. Has he lasted through the day? I'll know in a few hours when they project the dead images into the sky for the rest of us to see. All of a sudden, I'm overwhelmed by the thought that PETA may be already lost, bled white, collected, and in the process of being transported back to the Capitol to be cleaned up, redressed, and shipped in a simple wooden box back to District 12. No longer here, heading home, I try hard to remember if I saw him once the action started, but the last image I can conjure up is PETA shaking his head as the gong rang out. Maybe it's better if he's gone already. He had no confidence he could win, and I will not end up with the unpleasant task of killing him. Maybe it's better if he's out of this for good. I slump down next to my pack, exhausted. I need to go through it anyway before night falls and see what I have to work with. As I unhook the straps, I can feel it's sturdily made, although a rather unfortunate color. This orange will practically glow in the dark. I make a mental note to camouflage it first thing tomorrow. I flip open the flap. What I want most right at this moment is water. Haymitch's directive to immediately find water was not arbitrary. I won't last long without it. For a few days, I'll be able to function with unpleasant symptoms of dehydration, but after that, I'll deteriorate into helplessness and be dead in a week, tops. I carefully lay out the provisions. One thin black sleeping bag that reflects body heat, a pack of crackers, a pack of dried beef strips, a bottle of iodine, a box of wooden matches, a small coil of wire, a pair of sunglasses, and a half-gallon plastic bottle with a cap for carrying water that's bone dry. No water. How hard would it have been for them to fill up that bottle? I become aware of the dryness in my throat and mouth and the crack in my lips. I've been moving all day long. It's been hot and I've sweat a lot. I do this at home, but there are always streams to drink from and snow to melt if it should come to that, or to it. As I refill my pack, I have an awful thought. The lake, the one that I saw while I was waiting for the gong to sound. What if that's the only water source in the arena? That way they'll guarantee drawing us in to fight. The lake is a full day's journey from where I sit now, a much harder journey with nothing to drink. And then, even if I reach it, it's sure to be heavily guarded by some of the career tributes. I'm about to panic when I remember the rabbit that I startled earlier today. It has to drink too. I just have to find out where. Twilight is closing in, and I feel I am ill at ease. The trees are too thin to offer much concealment. The layer of pine needles that muffle my footsteps also makes tracking animals harder when I need their trails to find water, and I am still heading downhill deeper and deeper into the valley that seems endless. I'm hungry too, but I don't dare break into my precious store of crackers and beef yet. Instead, I take my knife and go to work on a pine tree, cutting away the outer bark and scraping off a large handful of the softer inner bark. I slowly chew the stuff as I walk along. After a week of the finest food in the world, it's a little hard to choke down, but I've eaten plenty of pine in my life. I'll adjust quickly. In another hour, it's clear I've got to find a place to camp. Night creatures are coming out. I can hear the occasional hoot or a howl. My first clue that I'll be competing with natural predators for the rabbit. As to whether I'll be viewed as a source of food, it's too soon to tell. There could be any number of animals stalking me at this moment. But right now, I decide to make my fellow tributes a priority. I am sure many will continue hunting through the night. Those who fought it out at the cornucopia will have food, an abundance of water from the lake, torches or flashlights, and weapons they're itching to use. I can only hope that I've traveled far and fast enough to be out of range. Before settling down, I take my wire and set 2 twitch up snares in the brush. I know it's risky to be setting traps, but food will go so fast out here, and I can't set snares on the run. Still, I walk another 5 minutes before making camp. I pick my tree carefully, a willow, not terribly tall, but set in a clump of other willows, offering concealment in those long flowering trusses. I climb up, sticking to the strongest branches close to the trunk, and find a sturdy fork for my bed. It takes some doing, but I arrange the sleeping bag in a relatively comfortable manner. I place my backpack in the foot of the bag and then slide in after it. As a precaution, I remove my belt, loop it all the way around the branch and my sleeping bag, and refasten it at my waist. Now if I roll over in my sleep, I won't go crashing to the ground. I'm small enough to tuck the top of the bag over my head, but I put on the hood as well. As night falls, the air is cooling quickly. Despite the risk that I took in getting the backpack, I know now it was the right choice. This sleeping bag, radiating back and preserving my body heat, will be invaluable. I'm sure there are several other tributes whose biggest concern right now is how to stay warm, whereas I may actually be able to get a few hours of sleep. If only I wasn't so thirsty. Night has just come when I hear the anthem that precedes the death recap. Through the branches, I can see the seal of the Capitol, which appears to be floating in the sky. I'm actually viewing another screen, an enormous one that's transported by one of their disappearing hovercrafts. The anthem fades out and the sky goes dark for a moment. At home, we would be watching full coverage of each and every killing. But that's thought to give an unfair advantage to the living tributes. For instance, if I got my hands on a bow and shot someone, my secret would be revealed to all. No, here in the arena, all we see are the same photographs they showed when they televised our training scores, simple headshots. But now, instead of scores, they post only district numbers. I take a deep breath as the faces of the 11 dead tributes begin and tick them off one by one on my fingers. The first to appear is the girl from District 3. That means that career tributes from 1 and 2 have all survived. No surprise there. Then the boy from 4. I didn't expect that one. Usually all the careers make it through the first day. The boy from District 5, I guess, the fox-faced girl, made it. Both tributes from 6 and 7, the boy from 8, and both from 9. Yes, there's the boy who I thought for the backpack. I've run through my fingers. Only one more dead tribute to go. Is it PETA? No, there's the girl from District 10. That's it. The Capitol seal is back with a final musical flourish. Then darkness and the sounds of the forest resume. I'm relieved PETA's alive. I tell myself again that if I get killed, his winning will benefit my mother and Prim the most. This is what I tell myself to explain the conflicting emotions that arise when I think of PETA. The gratitude that he gave me an edge by professing his love for me in the interview, the anger at his superiority on the roof, and the dread that we may come face to face at any moment in this arena. 11 dead, but none from District 12. I try to work one who is left. 5 career tributes, Foxface, Thresh, and Rue. So she made it through the first day after all. I can't help feeling glad. That makes 10 of us. The other 3 I'll figure out tomorrow. Now, when it is dark and I have traveled far and I am nestled high in this tree, now I must try and rest. I haven't really slept in 2 days, and then there's been the long day's journey into the arena. Slowly, I allow my muscles to relax, my eyes to close. The last thing I think is, it's lucky I don't snore. Snap. The sound of a breaking branch wakes me. How long have I been asleep? 4 hours, 5? The tip of my nose is icy cold. Snap, snap, what's going on? This is not the sound of a branch under someone's foot, but the sharp crack of one coming from a tree. Snap, snap. I judge it to be several hundred yards to my right. Slowly, noisily, I turn myself in the direction, and for a few moments there is nothing but blackness and some scuffling. Then I see a spark and a small fire begins to bloom. A pair of hands warms over flames, but I can't make out more than that. I have to bite my lip not to scream every foul name that I know at the fire starter. Where are they thinking? What are they thinking? A fire lit just at nightfall would have been one thing. Those who battle at the cornucopia with their superior strength and surplus of supplies, they couldn't possibly have been near enough to spot the flames then. But now, when they've probably been combing the woods for hours looking for victims, you might as well be waving a flag and shouting, "Come and get me." And here I am, a stone's throw from the biggest idiot in the game, strapped in a tree, not daring to flee since my general location has just been broadcast to any killer who cares. I mean, I know it's cold out here and not everybody has a sleeping bag, but then you grit your teeth and stick it out until dawn. I lie smoldering in my bag for the next couple of hours, really thinking that if I can get out of the tree, I won't have the least problem taking out my new neighbor. My instinct has been to flee, not flight. But obviously, this person's hazard. Stupid people are dangerous, and this one probably doesn't have much in the way of a weapon, while I've got this excellent knife. The sky is still dark, but I can feel the first signs of dawn approaching. I'm beginning to think we, meaning the person whose death I'm now devising, and we might actually have gone unnoticed. And then I hear it, several pairs of feet breaking into a run. The fire starter must have dozed off. They're on her before she can escape. I know it's a girl now. I can tell by the pleading, the agonized scream that follows. Then there's laughter and congratulations from several voices. Someone cries out, 12 down and 11 to go, which gets a round of appreciative hoots. So they're fighting in a pack. I'm not really surprised. Often alliances are formed in the early stages of the game. The strong band together to hunt down the weak then, and when the tension becomes too great, begin to turn on one another. I don't have to wonder too hard who has made this alliance. It'll be the remaining career tributes from District 1, 2, and 4, 2 boys and 3 girls, the ones who lunched together. For a moment, I hear them checking the girl for supplies. I can tell by their comments they've found nothing good. I wonder if the victim is Rue, but quickly dismiss the thought. She's much too bright to be building a fire like that. Better clear out so they can get the body before it starts stinking. I'm almost certain that's the brutish boy from District 2. There are murmurs of assent, and then, to my horror, I hear the pack heading towards me. They do not know that I'm here. How could they? And I am well concealed in the clump of trees, at least while the sun stays down. Then my black sleeping bag will turn from the camouflage to trouble. If they just keep moving, they will pass me and be gone in a minute. But the careers stop in the clearing about 10 yards from the tree. They have flashlights and torches. I can see an arm here and a boot there. Through the breaks in the branches, I turn to stone, not even daring to breathe. Have they spotted me? No, not yet. I can tell from their words and their minds are elsewhere. Shouldn't we have heard a cannon by now? I'd say yes. Nothing to prevent them from going in immediately, unless she isn't dead. She's dead. I stuck her myself. Then where's the cannon? Someone should go back. Make sure the job's done. Yeah, we don't want to have to track her down twice. I said she's dead. An argument breaks out until one tribute silences the other. We're wasting time. I'll go finish her and let's move on. I almost fall out of the tree. The voice belongs to PETA. Okay, we're going to stop there for today. Have a great day. Team Alabama, add to your facts, please.